Let's play a game. No, this is not a game. Here's a game I kind of played today with myself. Have you ever done this? Have you ever bought a record based on the cover? You know, a blind buy. People, oftentimes I'll buy stuff, and I've heard people talk about blind buys just because of some other thing, like, oh, I know the guitar player, but I've never heard this band, but I've heard the guitar player and somebody else. Things like that. It's kind of the same thing I do with movies. I'll go watch a movie because I like an actor in it, but I have no clue what the movie's about. And oftentimes I have run across records that I bought. I'm thinking, oh, look, hey, you know, like this one I bought that had, hey, Joe Satriani played on a handful of these songs. Didn't like the album at all, but it was a blind buy. Same store, same place, same $3 bin. Today I was in there looking. I was in there, the family was in there. They were in there for a lot longer than usual, so I had a lot longer to look. Wasn't finding anything major that I really wanted to buy. I found a couple of things I could have bought, like Kansas, what's it, Audio Vision. They had a Kansas album. I'm just like, this is all the same old stuff. So I said, let's try something different. So I started seeing some things that just kind of looked cool. The cover looked cool. And then you look at the back, I'm like, well, the band looks cool. And so I'm like, let's take a chance. And then you find out when you get home, you find out some history about the band, and it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. That was something I didn't anticipate. First one I bought, I looked at it, the cover caught me. Then I said, oh, wait a minute, I know that band name. I've heard one of their later releases. Magnum, Kingdom of Madness. I did not know that this was Magnum's first album, according to Discogs. Came out in '78. But a couple years ago, so I do reviews for magazines and stuff occasionally. And so I'm on a lot of the lists where I get emails, multiple emails every day from all kinds of different record distributors. You know, here, download our tracks, review. Most of the stuff I review for is Christian music, so a lot of the stuff I get is more mainstream, non-Christian. So I don't get a chance to really worry about downloading it. But Magnum came across, they have a new album, they have a couple new albums. They've been pretty active all along, but they had an album, I think, in 2016. And so I downloaded it and gave it a spin. So I knew the name, English band, kind of prog elements. I knew that getting something from the 70s had to be putting them back into that 70s more of a prog thing. So the album was cool looking. Look at it, it's just weird picture. Kingdom of Madness. And I thought, well, you know, it's in the $3 bin, and it was in really good shape, and I've heard of the band name, and I anticipated it being somewhat proggy, and it was from the 70s, so I thought it would be cool, and it is. Brought it home, threw it on, and I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I was looking for. So, kind of a blind buy, but not really. I kind of was familiar with the band. The new stuff that they do is nothing like this, so I knew this was going to be different, and I was impressed. I liked it. This one, I've seen there before. Again, the cover just kind of caught my eye. Rough Diamond. It just is weird. It is a cutout. The guys on the back, they 70s rocker, 70s rock look, got the hippie long hair. Forget the year on this. It was in the 70s too. So aside from the cover kind of catching my eye, it's kind of an embossed there. It raises up. The guys look kind of rocky, but it's on Island Records. And one of my absolute favorite bands in the world is on Island Records, and I thought, well, you know, that's got to have something to do with something. It's a decent label back in the day. And no, I'm not talking about U2. I think they were on Island Records too, but no, I'm talking about the 77s. Their early stuff was on Island Records. So I thought, take a chance. Got home, took a look, looked them up, found out that the singer was in Uriah Heep for a while, and I guess had recently been removed from Uriah Heep, so he went out and started this. The guitar player was from Humble Pie, and the drummer had spent a little time in Paul McCartney and Wings right before Joe English, my favorite drummer, before he showed up in 1974. He was in there. So the three of them got together with a couple guys and put this out. Got home, threw it on. It was what I expected. It was just good rock and roll. Just good rock and roll. I listened to the whole first side, and I was like, yeah, I'm digging it. It was well worth the $3. This one I bought, again, strictly for the cover. There's nothing on a picture of the band or anything to give me any clues. It's also from the 70s. I just like the cover. Spiders from Mars. Okay, now some of you all might be saying, what, Jeff, you didn't know these bands? Because I look them up, find out more about them. I wasn't in the 70s stuff, you know. Maybe I'm totally ignorant. Just please don't kill me. Spiders from Mars. I thought the cover was cool. It didn't have. There's no picture of the band. It's just more Spider. Thought I would check it out. Turns out this is the band that used to back David Bowie. This is I think the Ziggy Stardust years. This is the band. They went off and did their own thing, and they did this. Oh, Rough Diamond. This was their only release. I never did stop to look these guys up to see if they had any more releases, but this is rock with a little, you know, it's kind of a classic rock feel, but it's got some, you know, other instruments and stuff in it, so it's kind of a rockish, little bit of funk feel from the 70s, you know. It's got some horns and stuff, but from what I've heard, I'm digging it and digging it again. It was worth the chance to try. I just thought it was cool. I liked the cover. I liked the name. I thought that was neat. Then I had some extra time. I went away from the $3 bin and started just looking through the regular A alphabet section, which I hardly ever get a chance to look through because I usually go right for the new used stuff. They have a whole section on, you know, used stuff that they recently got in. As long as I go in there regularly and look through that, I can kind of stay up with it before it goes back out into circulation. So there's a lot of stuff out in the circulation that I'm not aware of. Grabbed this, saw this, I'm like, what the heck, you know, in the store. Anyway, Glass Harp. It makes me glad. Phil Keaggy. Oddly enough, you know, Phil Keaggy's a Christian musician. He's done a lot of stuff. I've shown a lot of his vinyl releases in my videos in the past. Before getting into vinyl, I only had a couple of his CDs. Not a real huge fan. He did appear on some Neil Morse music, which is cool. But I keep running across his stuff on vinyl, and so I keep picking it up because he is a very respectable guitar player. This is 70s. I want to say 72. Very early stuff. 70. I saw it. Anyway, it's on there. Kind of a psych sound. It's got some, you know, it's Christian to a degree. I don't think there's anything that jumps out. I'm assuming it's Christian. Got Phil Keaggy. The lyrics don't jump out. They're not preach or anything. It's just, you know, cool psych type 70s type rock. This one was not in the $3 bin, but I looked it up and saw that the price they had there was reasonable. You know, if I ordered it, it was going to be shipping and it was going to be in the same thing. So anyway, I went ahead and got it. It was in great condition. It's funny though, I look at these in the store and they look like they're like pristine, like near mint. And then I get them home in different lighting and I'm like, oh, okay, not as good as I thought. But it's got some pops and crackles on it, whereas it looks a lot cleaner. But then when I got home and looked under different lights, it was not quite as clean looking.